My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Let's crossing path light activities as soon as I start recording. And this is the Ontario Police Department crossing path, audible activity, helicopter activity in the specific environment where the Ontario International Airport has been maintaining criminal surveillance as the same city of Ontario. The helicopter activity immediately ceases. Its amplification in the first place, activity in the engineered light. They are indeed gang stalking. This is impossible light activity. Multiple shadows where the people of the state are stalking. Crossing path at the same time you hear that popping sound, stalking in the path with light activity. And that's the demonic synchronicity where the people of the state are up at what is 12:13 a.m. on June 24, 2025, and the Ontario Police Department is still stalking. Not only, period, it's criminal conduct by that police department shared by the city of Ontario, which is the state of California, that's gang stalking. They're still gang stalking in the face of evidence while they're being prosecuted, not only on the World Wide Web, but they're going to be prosecuted in court. Nathan Morgan, C. Torres, L. Martinez, and B. Hook are going to federal prison, and that loud sound of popping is audible activity while they're monitoring right now, while I'm capturing the evidence that's going to disband them. They're still monitoring right now, and the entity is stalking by helicopter. This is P.O.C. That's terrorism. It's psychological torture, and the Ontario Police Department is gang stalking while you hear the impossible noise of the train. They're going to be diagnosed as well as criminally prosecuted. Okay, these are psychopaths that are going to be disbanded as a mentally unwell, and that's proven by their behavioral pattern of stalking me in the first place. As a whole police department, they are mentally ill, and they're engaging in criminal facilitation of the criminal activity of the people of the state. 325 West G Street is stalking in the path while the Ontario Police Department sounds loud popping, amplified train, and helicopter activity while the people of the state are gang stalking in concert with them. And that's just one with regard to the people of the state gang stalking by residents, which is what they're doing in the city of Ontario. The Ontario Police Department gang stalking while the fake sun remains over me all day long, which I'm documenting on a daily basis. Stalking by helicopter is the identifying factor of the demon possessed that are gang stalking. And the people of the state are the ones that are stalking with impossible light. Okay, so when they're driving by, impossible lights moving across this wall, they're all driving in engineered light. They're all stalking together with the helicopter activity. This is the disbanding of the Ontario Police and the prosecution of the state of California. All right, those are the sex offenders monitoring my vagina in the bathroom, and that's why they're being disbanded. This is P.O.C. It's currently 12:15 a.m. when the Ontario Police Department is engaging in violence against a woman, and they are enabling, encouraging, and facilitating that while the people of the state are gang stalking in concert with them. This is P.O.C. That's impossible light activity by what's not caused by headlights. That's a demon, and so is that. And that's the Ontario Police moments later, still gang stalking. It's 12:17 a.m. and this is while the entity is monitoring the evidence. This is criminal surveillance, and so this Ontario Police Department that's engaging in criminal surveillance is also engaged in surveillance of the evidence that is being gathered while they are still stalking, and they are doing so in the specific environment. This is also impossible light, and while they're driving in the street, it's not going to cause dynamic shadows on the walls. This is gang stalking. That's audible activity and light activity and relevant positioning while the entity is gang stalking. And this is what the Ontario Police Department is doing on an ongoing basis. When the people of the state are stalking in the bathrooms, like at Starbucks and at the OVITT Family Community Library, where I am documenting the fake sun remaining over what is less than 0.4 miles from the beginning until the end of the day. This is where the Ontario Police Department is indeed gang stalking, and I'm documenting it for the disbanding of that corrupt department. They are engaged in what is stalking in the middle of the night and spending thousands of dollars on a daily basis to use helicopters and the resources of a police department to engage in it. This is the elements of monitoring while they're engaging what is crossing a path and repeatedly doing so while knowledge of the documentation about it is being gathered, which they're literally watching themselves being published on the internet while they're still stalking. That's relevant to the mental illness. Okay, all of this is impossible light activity. It's also impossible that the sun would remain over the OVITT Family Community Library, like I documented, from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. The Ontario Police Department is not only engaged in the unprecedented crime of gang stalking. You need to understand that it's demonic activity. That's a demon that is engaged in what is conclusive evidence of stalking, which I have documented in conclusive evidence of it, and they're doing it in concert with the people of the state. It is public corruption, and this is the evidence that's going to disband them because they've engaged in a pattern of kidnapping while they are engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring. It's currently 12 while the entity is engaging in what is pacing, flying in a helicopter in a circle and then crossing path again, and all they're doing is stalking on an ongoing basis. And this is exactly what the Ontario International Airport is doing while they are under no circumstances taking off from Terminal 2 and Terminal 4. Why? Because they're flying over 325 West G Street while I'm here in the specific environment, which is further evidence corroborating stalking using the spectacular and mentally demented method of planes and helicopters while they are gang stalking as the city of Ontario. Mike Lorenz and everyone everyone else, a part of the Ontario Police, are being removed from law enforcement, and that department is being disbanded. Mike is over the corrupt police department that is responsible for the multiple kidnappings that the city of Ontario, the state, has committed while gang stalking me. Because the city of Ontario is not the only documented gang stalker. The entity is maintaining the specific environment, which is the evidence of monitoring, targeting by the state. And Ontario is being disbanded as surely as the entity engaged in kidnapping on May 29th. And again, the entity that's going to federal prison is the one that's engaged in criminal summoning, such as Corporal Tadowski. He's engaged in criminal summoning, and he's going to federal prison for that. And the gang stalking of the department using helicopters and following me around on a daily basis in the specific environment, which is proving the system of gang stalking. That's why you're going to federal prison as a gang stalking police officer. The entity engaging in kidnapping on May 29th, which includes C. Torres, L. Martinez, B. Hook, and Nathan Morgan, they're going to federal prison. And the entity is still engaged in gang stalking, which this evidence is relevant for. This is relevant for federal prison, for the gang stalking demons of the Ontario Police, and the disbanding of that entire department. This is P.O.C. It's currently 12:20 a.m. All right, the people of the state at the shopping plaza that encompasses the W.S.S. shoes over to the Pizza Hut, and then there's the water store. This entire plaza, heavily engaged in gang stalking. They are always engaged in what is stalking with light as I walk by, monitoring with the people. 04450X2, stalking with light. A demon is across the street in the parking lot, and while I'm on the opposite side of the street, the same circus-like light activity, which is how you know that a population is stalking you, by the way. And it's also how you know that the population is demon-possessed. Stalking with that amplified noise, license 8TCD912, and crossing path, this is the meeting conduct. A population that is stalking in the middle of the night, a population that is stalking a single woman, a population that is stalking early in the morning, a population that's stalking through a police department, through an airport, is a population that is mentally ill. 9RYY952, these are the demon-possessed. It is, again, currently 5:44 a.m. 8VPL 008, 6YMY673, 4VKG126, 7LKA519, 29686 handicap, 8RKS472, 6NPC308, 9BOL988, 6BST144, CX61X48, that's a paper plate, on a black Chevrolet 2500 truck, big black truck, 7JHS588, in case I read that one already, 8ETP966, that's amplified audible activity of the demons monitoring around the plaza while I'm documenting all the people of the state. STLBDY. So they're all monitoring while I'm documenting them. This is exactly what they deserve, are federal cases for gang stalking. 21054F3, 9RDL646, and these psychopath stalkers know that their license plates are being read in real time, which is relevant to the ongoing monitoring at the same time. 9RSE971, 70XU624, 8FPJ521, 9MYH825, 68717N3, 8BGL499, 9MHJ528, 8YMF550, 9TFH569, 8TCN596, 7PQV945, 9FAB341, 9JXJ626, 8VXM535, and again, this is the shopping plaza that while I'm remaining in Woodside Senior Apartments, which is, let me get this license plate, 9PCP167, in case I didn't read that one already. While I'm remaining inside of Woodside Senior Apartments at Tracy Banks' apartment at 408 West G Street, apartment number 51, which is the third apartment building north of G Street. The entity kept the fake sun specifically over Tracy Banks' building, which encompassed units 49 through 64. So I am facing the building, the front door is facing the direction south, facing G Street. The sun is never over G Street. It's over Tracy Banks' apartment. 41073G3. 8XDY917. These are demons that are all stalking while they're maintaining traffic, which is what they've been doing all night, stalking. All night long. With the Ontario International Airport that's concentrating planes over G Street. And the entity that I documented overnight, stalking by helicopter right here over me at G Street. 7WOG611, 6YMY673 is engaged in surveillance in their vehicle while I walk through that parking lot. Just sitting in your vehicle in the parking lot in the middle of the morning while I'm documenting amplified audible activity and impulsive light activity is surveillance, not just coincidentally sitting in their car. They're stalking in the path. And this is the mentally sick conduct of the people of the state that are engaging in stalking on behalf of the government. All right, and they're doing so while they're monitoring together. They're all engaged in, the state of California is engaged in federal stalking. It's currently 5:47 a.m. And that is again at the shopping plaza at G Street, which is while I'm in Tracy Banks' apartment at Woodside Senior Apartments, which is at 408 West G Street and 302 West G Street. 144 units all engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring in the same way that the entire population is engaging in. 8AUL180. They are, as far as location, they are east of Woodside Senior Apartments, whereas when I'm walking in the morning, you're seeing the fake sun that's over me in alignment to G Street, which is not in perfect alignment, as you're looking at the entity keeping a fake sun relative to where I'm at, which is also, again, you're always looking at that because it's always confirmation the entity is stalking me, because this is impossible with what I'm documenting, a fake sun, and that supernatural character is the intent to be present. It's the intent to harass with this also impossible light activity that's coexisting with a fake sun, and also the intent to do so while the government is obviously engaging in what is following in planes and helicopters as well. These are the hallmarks of the pattern of conduct where the government is engaging in what is targeting an American citizen, and it's gang stalking and it's demonic. And the people engaging in gang stalking are demon possessed. And that is affecting human beings as being mentally ill while you literally prosecute them. Their criminal pattern of conduct is also used as relevant to the mental illness of those engaging in what is gang stalking. All right, license 6ZNK111, 6NID641, 8LVA851, 4BKF383. So the positioning of the shopping plaza that's east of Woodside Senior Apartments, as I was discussing, is a venue where the entity is maintaining the specific environment, and this is the plaza that I was documenting the entire time, just with regard to the immediate environment. The state of California is being put on the map for gang stalking, for criminal surveillance, which is also revealing what's going on in the rest of the country. But while I am at Woodside, you'll see in the documents that I would regularly upload on a daily basis, WSA-the People, the PDF, with regard to the same pattern of conduct as a bunch of old people at Woodside Senior Apartments were gang stalking on behalf of the state. Amplified audible activity, impossible light activity, and a fake sun that remained over the apartment building. All of this pattern of conduct that I'm documenting in a city was concentrated on the apartment building that I remained at Woodside Senior Apartments. And again, that's the ascendant entity, but it's the clear, straightforward prosecution. And the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct while I was already documenting this plaza. And as I'm outside documenting, crossing paths with this plaza on a daily basis, they are demonstrating the very fact of what it already documented, that they're gang stalking while that specific environment centers around me at Woodside Senior Apartments. CROWBOY, 6YGK380, 8YNN867, 7RDR660. 67973E3. It's currently 5:51 a.m. All right, the demons at Starbucks, license 9SVH786, 6ZEU331, stalking with noise, even while I'm in the parking lot using my device. The entity is stalking with noise at a distance. Targeting is revealing knowledge about who you are. They're not strangers stalking. 9MHV620, 5DNX602. As they engage in a pattern of conduct, they are revealing the intent, and they are revealing the fact that strangers stalking is a mask. And that's based on the lack of familiarity with the pattern of conduct. They're not strangers to the target individual. They know exactly who the target individual is, and they're targeting through everything that they're engaging in. Stalking with noise, stalking with light, stalking in the path, in the specific environment. They are stalking with specific knowledge. 9BSD645. License plate, meeting. License 9PHA927. Let me show you the same thing they did yesterday. And that is the same exact pattern of conduct while the Ontario International Airport, again, not only is it revealing the knowledge regarding the specific environment, which is maintained by demons who are gang stalking a specific person who they are focused on intentionally and knowingly with the identity of that target individual. They're doing it with the Ontario International Airport that's crossing path and telling on all of them as well. 9SVH786 is a female gang stalking at the drive-through window. And the entity is crossing path, meeting at the driveway. This is not a coincidence. It's called a pattern of conduct. All right, you have, again, a different face, same pattern of conduct, and the same government providing evidence against them, amplifying plane activity. Not only because it's a pattern of conduct, but the demons that are mentally ill are also triggered when I lay out their entire foolish and very asinine and highly unintelligent system. By amplifying plane activity, however, you are directly documenting the people of the state that are acting in conformity to that pattern of conduct, which is also relevant to intent. You're not accidentally engaging in what is the coincidental act of what is that demonic synchronicity. That's literally the pattern. They're gang stalking together. That is the state acting directly and the state acting vicariously through these demons who are meeting at the Starbucks driveway as I arrive. 8MQF684, license plate 8WEC704, license 77981H3, license plate 4BKF383. Patty's on the inside of Starbucks, gang stalking.
Morning.
That's the people of the state gang stalking on the sidewalk, crossing path with his communication device. This demon is monitoring as well. License 6MQF446. And good morning is audible activity. ARCO is monitoring. CHEVRON is monitoring. The people of the state at the Ontario downtown apartment complex, they have a parking lot. They're monitoring. They're sitting in the parking lot, stalking in the path. And this is why the city is going to be prosecuted, and every business. They're not individuals. The entire entity is going to be prosecuted because it's not limited to your business hours. It's not limited to whatever you think your identity, whatever exception you think it provides, because it doesn't. Because they're monitoring on a ceaseless basis. 5GGP249, that demon thought speeding by was going to enable me from getting him. License 67674A3, P.O.C. And those are the cowards that are gang stalking. Those are the cowards that are walking into the bathroom. What I'm documenting, this meeting conduct, this amplified audible activity conduct, this stalking by working inside of the establishment. The entity is doing so monitoring my vagina. Okay, this is what Patty is doing under the fake sun when she's walking by in the cafe, opening the bathroom door, and impossible light is appearing on the wall on the inside of the cafe. That's intent. She intends to do that. That's not an accident. It's not a coincidence. It's literally the pattern of conduct of stalking with light. Doing so in a manner that is also in your face when you're documenting it is adding to that federal offense that Patty, a third party who is vicariously acting as the government, gang stalking me and furtherance of murder and kidnapping, and that's why she's also subject to federal prison. All right, the entity that's gang stalking by helicopter is gang stalking through Patty, through the corrupt business practices of Starbucks inside of the cafe. P.O.C. And it's 5:56 a.m. And what you're not going to separate is the amplified plane activity, the stalking by an airport, the stalking by a police department, the stalking by the people of the state as I walk here, and then you're looking at and listening to me document it while it's all concentrated inside of a building, which is this venue, 507 North Euclid Avenue. And it's also psychopathic while you witness a whole bunch of demons engaging in what is a corrupt business, which is Starbucks, gang stalking through the employees and the patrons alike, who are all demons monitoring in the specific environment, concentrated at what is your local Starbucks. It's P.O.C. at 5:56 a.m. All right, the third parties, including you have Amelia, Patty, Brian, engaging in federal stalking. The entity engaging in the petty acts. Again, I'm going to get on the internet. Everything's going to be published. But you're dealing with Satan. Satan is, in case you didn't know, a very juvenile, sophomoric, but also maniacal, evil, wicked, perverted, all those things. So this is the pettiness and the short-sightedness, especially when you're being prosecuted for federal stalking. But nonetheless, they're engaging in what is trying to block access to the Wi-Fi. So you have a demon sitting next to you and weird sparking of light while they're sitting there, like they're consumed in their phone, and demons pacing in and out of the cafe. And the demons that work in the cafe are pacing while they walk to and fro across the room. They're crossing paths. These are the demons that are engaged in federal stalking. It's very pathetic, but it's also relevant to document because you're going to prosecute, and it's a federal offense. I'm always coming from the perspective of the ordinary target individual that is overwhelmed by these circumstances, that is being bullied and is psychologically traumatized by these circumstances. That's the vantage point that I'm coming from, and the right that you have, regardless of who you are, to not be subject to gang stalking by the government that's using corrupt businesses like Starbucks. And the public is coming in, including, as you'll see through the documentation, the City of Ontario, just all the lowlifes that the mayor, the City of Ontario, the municipality hires that are engaged in systematic monitoring in the city while they use the municipality vehicles, the resources of the municipality to engage in gang stalking, including coming into a venue in the city, engaging in what is walking into the bathroom like every other demon to monitor me in the cafe, buying a beverage at the venue, and then leaving. That's the City of Ontario gang stalking. It really brings down to size and puts into proper perspective how pathetic the demon-possessed are, and the pathetic are sitting on the city council. They work at the airport. They fly planes. They fly helicopters. They work for the fire department. They call themselves chiefs of departments, and they're all stalking me. Okay, and they're fearful of me getting on the Wi-Fi. But anyway, it's 6:44 a.m. This is federal stalking. Okay, while the entity is trying to block getting on the Wi-Fi for Starbucks. It's criminal activity on the venue of the internet and on communication devices. And the audible noise that you hear in the background is also criminal. It's audible activity in engineer light. It is 6:44 a.m. All right, 7:08 a.m. You will see a different phase. Same, first of all, demon possession. Same surveillance in the bathroom behind me while they're engaging in what is federal stalking. And this is the focus on what is being uploaded, that the stalkers are aware of is being uploaded. This is the government, and this is why you're facing federal prison. This is why you're facing disbanding. This is why you're facing removal from office. This is why you're facing civil and criminal prosecution with regard to the people of the state. They're engaging. You can see my multiple shadows of my hand, gang stalking in plain view. While you're also documenting the fact that your stalking is known amongst the stalker and the one who is being targeted. That's also impunity demonstrated, and that's also the outward demonstration of mental illness. Those are the demons that are also stalking in bathrooms, while that's also the same demons that are flinging light while they know exactly who you are and where you're at. Those are the same demons sitting under a fake sun, gang stalking all day long. So just want to be clear, surrounding is what I'm capturing, surrounding inside of the venue, and then surrounding behind by stalking in a bathroom, crossing path as that is documented while they're all monitoring the device together. And this is while evidence is being uploaded onto YouTube, onto Spotify, where their criminal conduct is going to be published. And the pattern of conduct that the state of California practices is informing what the U.S. government is doing in the country with regard to criminal surveillance and targeting with the civilian population, where they're monitoring on devices, and they're also monitoring with regard to maintaining close proximity to you, movement in that engineered light, and doing so with regard to, regardless, that's speaking to the obsession with stalking, regardless of the fact that it's not a secret, the fact that your tactics are fully known, and then that you're able to more fully see that demon, you're more fully able to see that stalker, and that mental illness is no longer closeted either when you're having, when you're aware of all the facets and everything that they're engaging in and the knowledge that they maintain while they engage in it. It's 17 a.m. This is the mayor. This is the fire chief. It's the police chief. It is the president of the airport authority. This is the entity that's gang stalking vicariously. No matter how unintelligent, no matter how disgusting and pathetic, it is criminal conduct by the state in the specific environment at 507 North Euclid Avenue. pacing to and from where I'm seated, while the employees that are gang stalking with the gang stalking patrons call out, "Oh, your drink is ready." You go to the counter, you're pacing in the engineered light. You'll see my hand with multiple shadows. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:11 a.m. where the entity is engaged in federal stalking, and so is the corporation Starbucks as well as its employees. And that currently includes Alana, Patty, it includes Brian, who are present in the cafe facilitating the pattern of conduct on behalf of the government. And clearly, there's no education requirement. There's no level of sophistication. All manner of imbeciles coming in and engaging in what is plain P.O.C. And it's a straightforward prosecution. It is currently 7:11 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, the City of Ontario adding light activity while the stalkers sit inside of the cafe. Analogous, similar to what you saw yesterday, the City of Ontario entering in, keeping their trucks strategically parked in alignment to me. And that flashing light is uncharacteristically vibrant and powerful. It's demonic. Those are demons that just happen to be working for the municipality while the entity is gang stalking with the venue Starbucks and with the patrons inside of Starbucks. And their legal identity are representing the people of the state. And even the demons emptying the garbage, they represent the government. They work for the City of Ontario. That's the state. License, engaging in surveillance and relevant position in a white Subaru. Subaron. Let me see what this is a demon. Stalking in the path while the City of Ontario adds light activity. The two demons that you see, the African-American male, likes to come and gang stalk a lot. 8FEM 873 is surrounding in the path. She's sitting in alignment to me on the sidewalk adjacent to me, while these two demons are sitting in front, and the employees are pacing back and forth, stalking with noise. The people of the state are outside around the building, stalking with light activity like the Ontario City of Ontario's license 8FEM 873, and that is a Subaron. It's supposed to be. Anyway, it's currently 7:21 a.m. It's P.O.C. Federal stalking. This is all state action. All right, the people of the state, they're essentially taking shifts, engaging in surveillance. You'll see the African-American male, he's seated stalking on the couch. The female seated plugs in as soon as I start uploading documentation. And then you'll see the elderly Caucasian male. He comes in, and then they're exchanging positions. License TC5X9M, that they're gang stalking at the drive-thru. License 9MHV520. This is all the parking lot. 6ZEU331. 7WJN933. 667EKT. So she is leaving. You'll see the third party. She is gang stalking in the venue, and then she is relieved, if you will. The elderly white couple sit at the table in front. They're relieving each other. That's all they're doing, is maintaining presence. It's surveillance by the entity altogether. License 6HOJ821, 9TOE019, 5DNX602, 9MQJ791, 9PHA170, 9BSD645. 9ECP526, 8XHS484, 8EWF035, 7ZDW186, 6WHH366, 8WSF187, 9MWE281, and this one is 97982X1. And I documented this one already. All right, I'm capturing images. One demon comes in, or a group of demons. They do it with teenagers. A group of teenagers come in and relieve the demons that were sitting in before. The entity is maintaining presence together as one. This is group conduct. And they're doing so, and you're recognizing that because the entity does things like keeps the fake sun over the cafe all day long. And then it remains over me as I walk down the street. And then the entity is engaging in what is maintaining presence. And that's how you're going to be prosecuting as well. You're going to prosecute any address, any business, any facilitating venue, in other words, that's going to be prosecuted as stalking. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct of 507 North Euclid Avenue, 9NTB926. Wow, BBLs, fake noses, and everything coming in and stalking me. It's pathetic. License 9TBS 675, 9JCZ 614, 8ADJ 933. This is the Ontario Police Department that's obsessively stalking. They've already lost with regard. The entity's supposed to be gang stalking you in secret. The entity's supposed to be able to sacrifice you, and you're never supposed to be making any sense, not to be able to prove anything. And this is an entity that is entirely defeated already and is obsessively monitoring while they are being publicly exposed. And that's relevant to their prosecution. 6ZAW035 and engaging in what is 8ZQN948, frequently engaging in surveillance parking across the street routinely. But this is, again, even when you have a third party it is relevant though. Repeatedly engaging the P.O.C. I've documented that with regard to federal prison. But this third party in particular, because I'm aware of the entity's purposes and what they do, parking at a distance. So perhaps I won't go get their license plate because I can go get the license plate. I've documented for hours the people of the state. License 8MNH562 8AZJ320. But the entity is engaging what is parking at a distance while and this third party in particular, that's why I'm bringing it up, in the blue SUV with that license plate I just read. They are routinely coming to Starbucks at the venue and maintaining presence at a distance while they're gang stalking in the path. Parking across the street is stalking in the path. Parking on the same side of the street that I'm on the sidewalk outside, is stalking in the path. Being in the fake church across the street at the Bethel congregation is stalking in the path. Filling up your gas tank at the Chevron is stalking in the path. And I want to also document Omnitransit's gang stalking systematically. They maintain Route 83 on Euclid Avenue. The bus route is documentation for prosecuting Alan D. WAPNER for gang stalking systematically with the City of Ontario using the public transportation. All right, Omnitrans is routinely crossing path. Every time they're engaging what is their bus routes, they're simultaneously gang stalking. It's built into what the entity is engaging in together. It is currently 8:25 a.m. This is, again, the demons that are engaging in what is relieving each other, maintaining presence. They're engaging in surveillance. Another group comes in. They sit down, and then the other demons pack up their stuff, and that's all they're doing is ongoing surveillance. And this is highlighted when you see it occurring under a fake sun, and you're understanding what they are doing cooperatively. And it's all, again, criminal conduct of Paul Leon, the gang stalking mayor, Michael GERKEN, the gang stalking fire chief, Mike LORENZ, the gang stalking police chief, Alan D. WAPNER, the gang stalking president over the Ontario International Airport. He's over the airport authority. And he is also sitting on the gang stalking Ontario City Council. This is government conduct, and the people of the state are a highly unintelligent group, unsophisticated group, just engaging in this is the low-level gang stalking conduct of the government. So the City of Ontario, they're low-level as well. All right, this is the entity engaging in the P.O.C. on behalf of the U.S. government. I'm exposing it in California. I happen to be in Ontario, San Bernardino County. This is P.O.C. It's 8:27 a.m. Traffic is light activity as well. And this is light activity. They're all in engineered light. And these are the demons that are gang stalking. When the entity is covering up the fake sun, they are always engaging in a pattern of conduct of stalking with light. This is P.O.C. at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Stalking with light is relevant to criminal monitoring. And the demon possessed are driving through engineered light. The engineered light is always present. And this is that pattern of conduct. All right, this is P.O.C. The entities engaging in the pattern of conduct. Demons come in and enter while they listen to me document. They replicate the same pattern of conduct. These are the mentally ill that are going to be prosecuted. This is P.O.C. It's currently 8:53 a.m. Starbucks is facilitating and is also engaged in the pattern of conduct using its business in doing so. P.O.C. All right, the stalkers who are the City of Ontario enter into the Starbucks at relevant position, gang stalking with the rest of these demons. As I am publishing the podcast about the City of Ontario gang stalking with light activity, including that video where you're seeing the demon stalking with the method of the bike with the flashing light, and the gang stalkers that are Chevron in relevant position, across the street in relevant position with the method of flashing light. As I'm including this in the podcast, as I am referencing the gang stalking that you saw on video in the demonic environment where the demon possessed that work for the City of Ontario, that is gang stalking. As I am referring to it, as I'm publishing it, the demons enter in. That's at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The entity does the same thing with the demons of the Ontario Police Department and the demons of the Ontario Fire Department. Patty, Alana, Tabitha, that are engaging in that P.O.C, which is, again, the entity exhibiting the severe mental illness while their gang stalking tactics, which is all centered on me. It is very pathetic. All right, but it's criminal, so it's pursuant to what is surveillance, and I'm documenting this pattern over and over again. This is relevant to why federal prison is a policy. This is relevant to why removing from office, etc. This is all happening on the watch of Paul Leon, hiring a bunch of demons that are gang stalking while they empty the garbage, while they sweep the sidewalk, while they're engaged in changing the light bulbs on the buildings in the city. They're gang stalking under the fake sun that remains over me and monitoring pursuant to federal stalking. They are entering while I am publishing the evidence on the podcast, which, again, is criminal conduct that Starbucks is engaging in. P.O.C. All right, you're looking at the City of Ontario gang stalking with the people of the state. So they're entering into the impossible light where Vince and Ocean. You have Patty, the demons that are gang stalking under the fake sun while it's shining over the building from 6:30 a.m. until 7:26 p.m. And then engage in a grand deviation while I go 4 miles, not even 4 miles, 0.4 miles from Starbucks to the OVITT Family Community Library, which is on Euclid Avenue, which runs north and south, meaning there is no movement of the sun in any direction west while it remains over the same street over me as I go from this venue to the library. This is where the City of Ontario is coming in to engage in the customary pacing around me. These are demons that are worshiping me while they're stalking. So the City of Ontario, while it's documented, the demons that are inside of them compel them to come inside and pace around as I refer to them in the documentation. These are demons, and this is demonic activity. It's criminal. It's pursuant to real-time surveillance, and in the same way, analogous to this is where the Ontario police drive by me or engage in what is turning on their traffic lights to pull over one of these demons who are the people of the state at the same time that I'm documenting something. All right, it's the pattern of conduct. The demons that are in use of what are the resources of a municipality engaging in gang stalking, while you'll see them pacing, and then you'll see the image of what is the engineer light that they're pacing in, walking in and out of the bathroom around me. Centering stalking somebody in a bathroom, which is, in other words, doing anything, anywhere, by any means to engage in stalking me, that's the outward demonstration of mental illness. And so is the light activity, and so is the stalking as a population. These are demons, and mental illness of the mental illness of the demon possessed is being manifest, and it's not closeted. And this, again, is a threat. While you have the government, you have every function of government, you have the population that are engaging in this demonic pattern of conduct, and it's criminal, and it's also speaking to what is absolutely, it's both pathetic, it's creepy and weird. They're the same entity that are also aware of my vagina. So you're looking at these two men, and I don't want to refer to them as men, you're looking at these two males that are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and with regard to knowledge about what I'm publishing on the internet about the City of Ontario, which while I'm documenting Ocean and Vince and Tabitha and Patty and Brian gang stalking, I'm documenting the City of Ontario, but nonetheless, as I refer to them directly, they are coming into the venue and engaging in a pattern of conduct in your face, which is an unlawful threat. They're doing the same thing with real-time knowledge regarding my vagina. So when you're looking at the images of these demons representing the City of Ontario, you're looking at the sex offender, okay? You're looking at them that are engaged in monitoring the vagina between my legs, which I don't consent to that either. And there is no basis for the government to engage in surveillance. And these are, again, the tactics of the entity that's engaging in what is an ongoing, ceaseless concession and admission to, yes, you caught us. Yes, we are pathetic, we're stalking you, and we're so obsessed, we're gonna keep stalking you because we are absolutely mentally ill and we need to be put in the facilities that you are referring to. But I hate the fact that you know it, I hate the fact that you're telling everyone, and I hate the fact that you are capable of identifying that. That's essentially what Satan is saying through the demon possessed who are gang stalking when that secret system is no longer a secret, okay? The entity is always telling its own secrets while it's engaged in the pattern of conduct. That's also what I'm hoping you're picking up from what I'm exposing to you about the P.O.C. What I revealed to you. The documentation of the pattern of conduct is the evidence that reveals the fact that they're engaging in surveillance. There's no ongoing coincidence, especially when you're looking at an environment where things such as the sun, where there's only one, is remaining over this building, where everybody works inside of this building, is engaging in what is presence, and it's significant. That in and of itself is significant, that supernatural character of the environment. And then you're getting to the greater pattern of conduct, because I'm documenting this environment everywhere that I go. And everywhere that I go, the police departments, law enforcement, which are terrorist organizations, are engaging in what is stalking, arriving in helicopters. All right, and there's no coincidence there. So then you're getting to the behavioral pattern of that entity, and they are nothing other than hostile demons and violent sex offenders who are together aware of what's going on with my vagina, while they're also aware of the moment that I mention them gang stalking and coming in, exhibiting mental illness while they're stalking in the path with the method of flashing light in the specific environment. That's how you know that they're demons. And that's Paul Leon is engaged in domestic terrorism in the city of Ontario. As the city of Ontario, the municipality, the employees of the municipality are engaging in that P.O.C. The license plate of the city of Ontario that is gang stalking with the third parties inside of the venue of Starbucks, which is representative of the people of the state. Their license plate includes, I documented it in images, and I'm going to document it on the podcast. Their license plate is 1563244. It's vehicle 4207. The City of Ontario documented engaged in kidnapping with the Ontario Police Department. The City of Ontario documented engaged in criminal summoning on several occasions with the Ontario Police Department. And the entity is engaged in what is gang stalking while they're monitoring with the demons that are filling the venue. All they're doing is stalking inside of the building. This is very demonic, and it's very mentally disturbing conduct that they engage in. All right, and again, City of Ontario uses these two demons representing the municipality to enter in, and is directly relevant to what I'm publishing at the same time on my via podcast. I'm referring to the video where you'll see at 6 in the morning yesterday, City of Ontario, who are not clever, they're demons, and their whole pattern of conduct is fully laid out. In fact, it's essentially an expository so that you can see with your own eyes how demons monitor. And so as I refer to this video and documentation that I captured today, a demon enters in using a bike as a method of flashing light in alignment to me, using a truck with regard to Chevron that's across the street, the same Chevron that's gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department under the 11:54 a.m. fake sun, evidence that's sitting on the record, a gang stalking with the California Highway Patrol under the 6:33 a.m. fake sun, evidence that's still on the record. The entity is engaged in the pattern of conduct with the entity on a ceaseless basis, and the fake sun documentation is evidence of who Chevron, the company, and Chevron's employees and everybody on the property of Chevron, who they're targeting together. And it is myself as I'm documenting that specific environment. So while you document the entity and they are embarrassed because these are demons that have some delusional idea about what they're capable of and how they can engage in their ghoulish conduct, and no one's ever going to see them because they're so capable. No, they're not. They look stupid, they look crazy, and they look like the psychopaths that they are, while I'm exposing their mental illness, which is exhibited through their behavioral pattern while they're all stalking me. Okay, it is currently 9:42 a.m. The license plate again is 1563244, vehicle 4207, and you'll see these two sex offenders wearing the vests representing the City of Ontario, coming in, participating in the pattern of conduct where Starbucks is engaging in the criminal facilitation of gang stalking, and they are gang stalking as well. Remember, it's two federal charges: gang stalking and facilitation of gang stalking, and they're doing that with the population. You're talking about hundreds of people that are gang stalking through the corrupt business practices of Starbucks, and Starbucks is aware of it. Starbucks is intentionally engaging in it. Starbucks is exhibiting inherent disdain for the Constitution, for American citizens, for your privacy rights, for your right to be free from terrorism while you're buying coffee or while you're sitting in a cafe. These are things that are, again, underappreciated by a corrupt company that's merely interested in making money off the backs of American citizens, and they're also monitoring you. All right, and they're also sex offenders that are monitoring you while you're inside of its establishments, which is, again, Starbucks' pattern of conduct, as I've documented in a plethora of venues in California. It's currently 9:43 a.m. This is P.O.C., the City of Ontario. That's the government entering in directly to gang stalk with all of these demons that are obsessed stalking me. They move, they get up, they move the furniture, they prepare their drinks, the drive-through, all of that is based on me, the demonic synchronicity that's ongoing. These are the demon-possessed gang stalking. It's P.O.C. It is currently 10:06 a.m. This is the current state of the parking lot. The entity that's engaged in criminal surveillance with the state. 8EXJ266, 8STS582, 8NQL070, 6ZEU331, 9LWU646, 9PAC239, 8VDJ892, 6ARC917. Yeah, the 6ZEU331, that's Amelia. Gang stalking under the fake sun at 6 in the morning, preparing drinks in engineered light, terrorism on video and in images, and facilitating it systematically, repeatedly, with impunity and malice. JTS 9919, that's Texas. 9HRN 357. It's 10:07 a.m. 8VZY493. Monitoring with the business Starbucks, engaging criminal surveillance, federal stalking. License 31369C4, that's Frontier Communications. 7REF502. 9AAD768. 9BSD645. RNPTAN. All these third parties are monitoring with the City of Ontario. That's providing evidence right against them because they're stalking with the airport. License, I already documented this, 5DNX602, 7UOX439, 9MKB686. They're all engaged in federal stalking under Title 18 as well. 9APY925, 7THX757, 6HOJ821, 7KAG343, 9CE7165, I believe. 7KAG343, 7HGW454, 8GTF093, 9LAH304, 8JDY436, 9BUK825, 9CSU395, 7XYC492, 9JZY758, 9PJE506, 9MEV954. This is Washington, CGL1820. 5USD160, 8PNR917, 9NDE621, 9PPS731, 5LRX610, 9MOU921. I think I read this one, 9HXN415. This one is 8ENR616, 7YWS405, 22517Y1, 9NQK279, 8ZHH571, stalking in the path with light activities. City of Ontario crossing path at the same time. Alrighty. Stalking with the Ontario International Airport, maintaining plane activity for gang stalking purposes of the people who maintain methods of presence and light activity, and so is the municipality. EB41B84, that's paper, 8NMD242. United States Postal Service is gang stalking. License 8KCJ336, 9RMA748, 9NIB760, 6ZNX527, 8RCE229, 9FNV594, 9GAW377, and I already documented them. 7FXL338. The entity flying right over the parking lot where I'm documenting all the people of the state. And just, you need to understand in your mind's eye, imagine your vagina or your genitalia, whichever one you have, being under surveillance by all of these people, but much, much more, including the government that is stalking in planes. That's why they're all being prosecuted for the sex offense of gang stalking. License 7JQR931. And the entity is engaged in very highly unintelligent conduct. The entity is always perpetually taking off. If you're taking off at the airport, then you're not hovering in the sky space over here in Northwest at the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. In the same way that a sun is not rising and setting at Starbucks on Euclid Avenue. The entity is engaging what is flying at again, more northwest than Starbucks and is hovering over that street as though they're taking off over there. The entity is doing so in the specific environment, which includes multiple shadows, engineer light. The entity is gang stalking and telling on each other while they engage in monitoring, as I document the people of the state monitoring. And they're all sex offenders that are aware of the status of my vagina when they are taking shifts, engaging in surveillance in order to monitor me and monitor my vagina in the bathroom. That includes 9PPV 956, 9CZG414, license 9 8FPH766. License 9RPN361, 9JBF067. I believe I read all these. 9CVR352, 7EIB049, 5GJN730, 7SMV060, 9MDP096, 9PHA170. The entity is, again, at a fake church. It says Church of Christ, visitors welcome. They're also, this same parking lot encompasses the Aegis, some sort of medical center where they're paid by the government, the gang stalking government, to distribute drugs to drug addicts. And they're gang stalking. And they're gang stalking just like the drug dealing facility, the fake churches, in the same specific environment, engaging in terrorism with the entity that's stalking by helicopter right now. And you know why? Because they know that they're being documented, and this is why people go to federal prison. This is all supporting the policy. Everybody already documented going to federal prison. That's exactly where they're going. AWSF187, 6WHH366. Crossing path is 7VPU987. Already documented that third party. EB40H40. That's a paper plate. 7ZDW186. 8EWF035. All right, and what is relevant to damages when prosecuting a corrupt company like Starbucks is the incalculable harms while they're engaged in psychological torture, while they're engaged in targeting you with the whole population. Again, symbolic is the number of license plates that I just documented right now, but it's more than that. The entity is documenting this is state action. Okay, people that are outside of the city of Ontario are monitoring me. This is a statewide P.O.C. Okay, so you're talking about that level of violation of privacy regarding my vagina. Okay, the entity is engaged in what is a perpetual sex offense for RPG 984, and this is all facilitated by Starbucks, who is making money while gang stalking. License 9MSJ614, 5XNM325 is crossing path again, 31490N1. And Starbucks is engaged in systematic means of targeting and threatening and psychological torture with the Ontario Police Department. 8TPA113, 5ZMP148. P.O.C. And the entity that's covering up his fake sun remains over me. That's why at any point in the day when it starts shining, it's shining over me. 8KWT498, 9SKE862. And this is what Tracy Banks is going to federal prison for. 20242E4. The government that's gang stalking is simultaneously seeking to engage in what is stealing property with Tracy Banks, via Tracy Banks, through a criminally procured and through fraud, a secret conservatorship, while that same government that's engaging in what are violating the laws in the creation of that device is gang stalking at the same time, which is not going to result in mental illness in order that you can substantiate a conservatorship and steal my property. The entity is engaging in what is the provision of information and evidence that's resulting in nothing less than federal prison. That includes Jason Isaac Fields. The entity is engaging in what is a secret, fraudulent marriage to me while the entity is gang stalking, the government is gang stalking. Understand this is the government's devices with the intent to steal in order to maintain legally significant relationships with me, being a conservator, being a spouse of mine. None of them are, neither apply. The government that is gang stalking me is the government that is engaging in these tactics through the people of the state. That includes Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, who are going to federal prison for it. They are acting with the state in furtherance, fully intending by virtue of such criminally procured and fraudulently procured devices that the government is providing to them. And the government is providing it. The government's gang stalking. The government is fully engaged in with all knowledge and intent to target and furtherance of murder and kidnapping. And I have a population gang stalking me. Because of it, you're going to prison. License 7EZU216, 8GOE196, 9TDT294. And this is the work of Satan. This is demonic. This is what demon-possessed governments practice. This is what California engages in, stealing property from celebrities, defaming celebrities while they're making all their money, and the entity abuses the laws in the ways in which I've shown. I'm not a celebrity. It's not based on your status.
I am somebody that's practiced law. I'm somebody that knows the law, knows my rights. And the entity targeted me. It doesn't matter whether you think you're a rocket scientist or whether you're somebody that is working at a grocery store. The government's engaged in targeting American citizens, and that's what I demonstrate. That's what I represent. No matter how educated you are, this is speaking to the government that's entirely corrupt and merely engages in what is group conduct, gang conduct, bullying conduct in order to steal from you, will make up mental illness to steal from you, and does it through the people of the state. 9 EWB 559. Not only am I not going to be, the entity is going, the government, the people of the state, the entity that have stolen my property, not only is it being given back to me, property that the entity has withheld from me, and thought that gang stalking me was going to relieve them from responsibility for it so that they never have to deal with it. And this is conduct that the courts, the gang stalking courts, are fully cooperative in. All right, so they are, and that's also known because the entity is gang stalking. That pattern of conduct that I have fully expounded upon, I've fully exposed. The court is directly engaging in everything that the entity sought to accomplish through targeting me, targeting with the intent to murder. And that's why the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. The Ontario International Airport gang stalking while this demon is blocking the intersection, which is stalking in the path with light, license plate 07609R2 at 10:17 a.m. at the U.S. Bank. This is at D Street and Euclid Avenue. While the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking by flying over the street, there is no, this is far, and this is obvious gang stalking by the airport as well. Like I said, when I point out the obvious, the entity is nowhere near a terminal. So the location you are, the elevation you are, to be able to hear the planes, to be able to see it at the elevation, to see the logos, to be flying literally over the roof of the buildings. The Ontario International Airport, L&D WAPNER, is fully engaged in targeting me, gang stalking me with the people of the state. Literally with Tracy Banks while flying over while I'm in her apartment. It's that personal with regard to the P.O.C. City of Ontario, license 70620B1, stalking in the path. This is P.O.C. 1616079, City of Ontario, gang stalking, crossing in the path. This is the municipality using its resources. Paul Leon's being removed from office for conspiring against an American citizen whom he is gang stalking. The full functioning of the City of Ontario is engaged. Every level of government in the City of Ontario is gang stalking me. It's that personal. And he is doing so in furtherance of the same conspiracy to steal, to defame, to terrorize, psychologically torture, to sexually violate, and doing so with knowledge of the fact also because the government's engaged in federal stalking. Paul Leon knows every time I mention his name. He's gang stalking me while the entity is keeping the fake sun over the same plaza where the Ontario City Hall is located when I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library. And that fake sun is over me, telling on a gang stalking mayor who's going to be removed from office. 23238R3, 7KYS 937, 8MF 7691. This is the P.O.C. It is currently again 10. Let me get the time real quick. It is 10:19 a.m. This is the pattern of conduct. The entity is stalking me from place to place. So I'm documenting on an ongoing basis, which is what my documentation on the podcast has been cataloging for years. The fact that the government, the entity, as I refer to it, is stalking me ceaselessly and doing it in concert with the people of the state. You are stalking regardless of the location or the type of property. They're venues. And so the entity is gang stalking in the most demonic, satanic, unprecedented, and unheard of way, which is relevant to the mental illness of the gang stalkers. And in addition to that, it's entirely malicious. One of the entity's motivations is that the entity sought to steal. And they thought that they were going to defame, which is why you gang stalk somebody to try to defame that person. You're doing so necessarily without any evidence of gang stalking. And even if someone were to undertake the Herculean feat of trying to document gang stalking, it has never before been laid out in the way in which I have done so. And this is for the use of any American citizen as the entity is gang stalking in this specific environment. Somebody on the opposite side of the country, anyone can use my evidence with regard to the specific environment and prove that you're being targeted. 9 GAS 894, which is again surveillance. We're all under surveillance. The specific environment proves that. FedEx is gang stalking 2315223, and they're gang stalking with Wells Fargo, fully surrounded with the with evidence gang stalking, flying in circles over the Wells Fargo like I've documented, keeping the fake sun over me at this Wells Fargo from morning until evening. Doing so while the entity is gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario International Airport, all facets of the pattern of conduct, while FedEx is stalking in the path with flashing light, just like you saw the demons engaging in at the Starbucks. All right, it's 10:21 a.m. This is the documentation of an entity, a public entity, stalking an American citizen, which is gang stalking. It is currently, again, 10:21 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the entity engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. There's no Terminal 2, Terminal 4. Flying over the senior citizen apartments and doing so as I'm approaching. FedEx is stalking with light. Traffic is repeatedly crossing path. The light flashes, the brake lights, whatnot. This is light activity while they're stalking in the specific environment. And this is, again, the same location where I've already documented the entity stalking with the fake sun. The fake sun is an indicator of state surveillance. And the entity is engaging what is ongoing stalking and terrorism as the city of Ontario. This is evidence that's going to disband the Ontario police and put kidnappers like Nathan Morgan, C. Torres, L. Martinez, and B. Hook in federal prison. They're doing so while, again, the gang stalking mayor, Paul Leon, in relevant position at the B Street City Hall, which is right here, while the entity's deviating from taking off at the terminals, Terminal 2 and Terminal 4 at 2900 Airport Drive. You're hovering over this venue while they're stalking, which is exactly what they're doing when I'm at the Starbucks. It's exactly what they're doing when I'm at the TABOR Professional Building. It's exactly what they're doing when I'm at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. It's exactly what they're doing when I am at Woodside Senior Apartments. The entity is stalking with planes. It's an indicator of state surveillance, and they're doing so while it's being documented, and they are monitoring, aware of the evidence of them stalking an American citizen, which is providing for a straightforward prosecution. This is a psychopath that's crossing path. All right, 9GJY038. Let me get that again. 9GJY038, yeah. P.O.C. Remember, the entity, all they're doing is covering up the fake sun. The fake sun is here. I'm documenting 9:18 in the morning. I'm documenting at 10:38 in the morning. I'm documenting at 4 in the afternoon. I'm documenting right here over this is non-movement, where it's present from the morning until evening as I walk out at 6. And who's flying over? The Ontario police are documented on June 6, 2025. Stalking and helicopter stalking is identified in that specific environment. And no documentation after you've already captured the P.O.C. is going to rebut that. Covering up the fake sun, you've already seen the evidence of a supernatural environment and the supernatural behavior that is the demon possession of the entity that's gang stalking. These are all demons engaged in the exact same pattern of conduct. It is currently 10:23 a.m. The fake sun is already documented remaining over me in a manner that is irreconcilable with nature. It's not sitting over Starbucks all day and over OVITT Family Community Library. And in that environment, that's where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking in order to prosecute the whole state of California. This is P.O.C. All right, this is to show you the real-time environment. The entity covering up the fake sun seconds after I walk in, and it's shining. This is, again, the very the demon possessed are not intelligent. They're just wicked, and they're just stalkers. So while they're stalking and they're engaged in monitoring evidence, covering up the fake sun is never removing the evidence that's already on the record. And this is Ontario crossing path. This is entering in crossing path. Holding a child does not make it look less nefarious. It looks even more creepier. And this is a demon stalked with flashing light like they were at Starbucks. And here is seconds later, the fake sun. Covering it up is no deviation from the pattern of conduct. A bunch of demons are an engineered light inside of the library, where light fixtures in the ceiling that the City of Ontario installs do not cause multiple shadows on both sides of your person. That's impossible light inside while you're stalking in the path with flashing light. This is what the City of Ontario is doing at the Starbucks, where the fake sun is not remaining. It's moving actually as I move. And it's still here as I documented here at 6:22 in the afternoon, where you're recognizing Paul Leon's engagement in federal group stalking and monitoring. Gang stalking mayors are going to be removed from office. License 1624445. Hiring the demon possessed that are engaged in criminal surveillance, not the services of a municipality. They're engaged in federal stalking. They come around stalking in the path, knowing I'm coming to the front door to stalk right here with light activity under the fake sun, which is the P.O.C. All right. It is currently, again, while you're looking at the fake sun, while it's covered up while I walk here, and nobody forgot about what was documented on June 20th, 2025. Nobody forgot what was documented, by the way, in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Nobody forgot what was documented when I'm documenting the OVITT Family Community Library, Ontario, California, when I'm in Los Angeles, where these demons are gang stalking just like the LAPD under the fake sun, okay? That's why the Ontario PD are being disbanded. Because this is the Ontario Police Department gang stalking as one entity. This is demonic pacing, license 1624445, 4ZXK475. These are the unintelligent demons covering up a fake sun as far as evidence is concerned, is not removing the evidence and the probative value of it. A fake sun remains probative, period. In the natural environment, a cloudy day doesn't mean the sun went and rose in Minnesota. Okay, this is the entity stalking by helicopter. The Ontario Police has no intentions on remaining as a police department. That's why you would provide that level. That's relevant to the mental illness. And it's directly relevant to gang stalking by Starbucks. PUNY 116. The entity is engaged in the P.O.C. and this is what Alana and Vince and Raquel at Starbucks are engaging in: gang stalking, targeting me, and also targeting my vagina in the bathroom where they're stalking, in the path, at a facilitating venue, not a legitimate business. Starbucks is engaged in criminal surveillance with every police department in whatever city, as I've documented. And those third parties at Starbucks are subject to federal prison, especially while they're threatening my life while I document them. Okay, this is federal stalking conduct, and the entity tends to engage in the documented pattern of threatening you by gang stalking police officers who commit murder and kidnapping, just like Nathan Morgan did, just like C. Torres did, L. Martinez and B. Hook, who are going to federal prison, just as surely as those ignoramuses provide evidence against their co-defendant, and they're all done with law enforcement. This is the fake sun, again, shining, as I've already documented it here. Okay, and it's remaining here as I documented at 4 p.m., as I document at 6 p.m. when it's here, and it's merely over this building, like I've documented on several occasions. This Ontario Police Department that's gang stalking with, which is the City of Ontario stalking with light. It's the City of Ontario stalking with planes. It's the City of Ontario stalking with helicopters. And the demon-possessed are stalking with light. That's this whole significance of the fake sun. While they're all walking around, they're pacing all around me, and this is light activity while they pace all around. And this is why they have multiple shadows inside of this venue, while the entity is engaging what is gang stalking through the City of Ontario's OVITT Family Community Library, P.O.C. Walking out is gang stalking, crossing path, making sure somebody's in the path. And psychopaths don't address you when they're gang stalking you, P.O.C.
What you're going to pay attention to regarding the documentation that you're witnessing as I exit the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, and I go outside and I round up all those demons by license plate. The entity sounds helicopter activity pursuant to an unlawful threat, the intent to psychologically harm, harass, and terrorize and intimidate while the entity is engaged in federal stalking. That means the stalkers know that they're being documented and pursuant to the pattern of conduct with the intent to obstruct justice. The Ontario Police Department, that entity's corrupt law enforcement agency, which is a terrorist organization, engages in gang stalking in a perceptible manner in order to communicate a threat, and that is to disincentivize, to deter, to stop you, to preclude documentation, which is an unlawful threat that the people of the state are also prosecuted for. What you'll pay attention to is as I stepped out and got the fake sun that begins shining the moment I walk into the building after the entity intentionally covers it up while I'm outside, which is not removing the evidence and proving the same pattern of conduct. These are demons that are intellectually impotent, okay? Nonetheless, as I capture that video and I reference the gang stalking mayor, Paulion, who is being removed from office, he is being exposed as a terrorist leader. He is being exposed as corrupt. He is being exposed as a criminal. Understand that he's, this is relevant for his engagement in federal stalking. He's engaged in federal stalking as well. The city is engaged in criminal monitoring. He is subject to a federal case for federal stalking. Also, while the City of Ontario is gang stalking and it's built into what they are doing as they engage in services for the municipality, that's a RICO case. Okay, this is corruption, and I'm exposing it. And as I refer to that gang stalking mayor, Paul Leon, the entity again sounds helicopter, which is following from place to place. And not coincidentally, but pursuant to the pattern of conduct, as I engage in documentation, the entity that is engaging what is surveillance and is aware of, therefore, the documentation and is still also stalking, relevant to the mental health as well. The entity sounds helicopter again. That's what you're going to pay attention to. It's 10:50 a.m. P.O.C.
Ontario International Airport with license 9LVN 926. That's Allied Universal Gang Stalking. And this is the Ontario International Airport greeting as I walk out of State Facilitating Venue, Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, where the fake sun remained all day. And this is in the engineered light present inside of the library as well. This is the same light activity inside of the library. My shadows on opposite sides of my person, which is not the product of standing under light fixtures outside. These are gang stalkers stalking in the path as you walk out, stalking in the path, stalking in the path. Those are demons stalking in the path. This is the demon stalking in the path, stalking with light. Opposite end over here, stalking in the path with their foot on the brakes. Headlights over here. This is the city of Ontario engaging in what is a documented act of retaliation as I document very damning evidence, psychopaths that are more focused on the fact that they look stupid and that they look crazy and that they're already guilty by virtue of the evidence that I'm publishing online, engage in more of that criminal conduct, which is going to disband the city police. Ontario police are being disbanded. Nathan Morgan, C. Torres, L. Martinez, and B. Hook are going to federal prison. Corporal Tedosky is gang stalking just like the city of Ontario is doing in concert with the people of the state in the same specific environment, and the entity is subject to what is a prosecution statewide. That's what they're focused on, which is relevant to the mental illness by gang stalking demons whose identity are going to be produced. There's no terminals over here. They're flying over the senior citizen complex. They're stalking in the path as I walk out of the venue. This is the pattern of conduct, all right? This is the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. It's 8:50 p.m. and that's a long-term documented pattern of conduct. The entity gang stalking with the city of Ontario is subject to a federal prosecution as well. License plate. This is city of Ontario gang stalking. They're driving an engineered light. They're engaged in federal stalking. License plate 9CSS 740. This is P.O.C. All right, there's no plane takeoff over here. And pay attention. This is what they're doing at the TABOR Professional Building at 325 West G Street. There's no takeoff here. This is plain stalking. At the TABOR Professional Building, which is northwest over there, they're flying way far northwest to be over the TABOR Professional Building, stalking all night long, flying over that venue as well. This is demonic pacing. The Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. This is criminal monitoring. They do this under the fake sun. License plate 67080CA. This is P.O.C. This is what the entity is engaging in under the fake sun that remains over this venue all day long. And it's mental illness exhibited while the entity engages in the criminal elements of monitoring. That's a demon. It's demonic light activity. This is what the entity is doing at the Starbucks, stalking with light activities surrounding me inside of the venue under the fake sun, like I documented today when the entity covers up the fake sun and then after I walk in, the entity starts shining the fake sun, which is in the same position. I've been documenting it since 2019. The entity is engaging in what is maintaining an environment where they're openly stalking. It's gang stalking. It's engaging in what is stalking with airplanes, and this is the entity that is engaged in stalking by the police department. The police department committed kidnapping on May 29, 2025 with the people of the state that are gang stalking with the city of Ontario. That's why Tracy Banks is going to federal prison, in addition to the gang stalking officers of the corrupt terrorist organization, the Ontario Police Department, who are monitoring right now. P.O.C. It is currently 8:52 p.m. All right, the video you just listened to is the entity, that's the City of Ontario at the OVITT Family Community Library that's gang stalking. That's the City of Ontario by the Ontario International Airport that's gang stalking by hovering over the apartment complex as I walk out. Simultaneously, that's tracking my steps as I walk out, crossing path. There's no terminals over here where the entity is engaging what is hovering in planes, which is the elements of monitoring in the specific environment. My shadows are on both sides of myself, as you can see through the video. As you're listening to me narrate that, as you listen to the video, this is the entity that is gang stalking with the intent to retaliate and threaten, which is, again, the same psychopathic behavior. You're already mentally ill when you're stalking in planes like the demons in the City of Ontario are engaging in. Gang stalking pilots who are subject to federal prison. The entity producing the identities of those that are flying commercial planes coming from the Ontario International Airport, engaging in the pattern of conduct as I've documented it. They are engaging in criminal conduct with the Ontario Police Department, which is going to be disbanded. 9KID 610. This is the people of the state gang stalking. It is currently 9 p.m. License plate 8NPB 108 7HPF 865. The employees, as I've already documented, when they engaged in kidnapping on June 16, 2022, are engaged in the pattern of conduct with the Ontario Police Department, which is the City of Ontario, who was engaged in gang stalking by hovering over the senior citizen complex at 280 North Lemon, where the commercial planes are documented, hovering over that venue in order to engage in the elements of monitoring and facilitate gang stalking by the people of the state, the City of Ontario, where I'm located, which is that specific environment, the evidence of stalking with planes. 8LOL 647. R883JO 9SWG077. This is the people of the state documented inside of that parking lot relevant to the ongoing terrorism, psychological torture, bathroom monitoring, the sex offensive gang stalking underway inside of that OVITT Family Community Library that I'm documenting. When I remain subject to it, and it is evident that they're engaging in it when you are walking right into being targeted by the police, by the airport, by the people of the state as you walk outside of that venue. They're engaged in the pattern of conduct inside of that venue. So I just want to document those are the demons that are engaged in gang stalking parked in the OVITT Family Community Library. As soon as I walk out, they're engaged in targeting me with the City of Ontario, in doing so with the intent to harass and terrorize and psychologically harm. Those are psychopaths that are working at a City of Ontario venue and fully anticipating and deriving pleasure from targeting me, as in all of them gang stalking together while a demon is in a plane tracking my steps. While they're all stalking in the path, they're all one entity, and then using a plane with regard to engaging in that pattern of conduct. Abby, that's inside of the library, who is crossing paths with me as I walk outside of the study room, is gang stalking, while the demons at the circulation desk at the front entrance, and the demons of who are the people of the state maintaining presence in that library, they're all in engineered light inside of that venue. In addition, they're gang stalking with knowledge of the fact that the entity intends to stalk with plane right now. And this is all relevant to the damning evidence that's published on the venue of the internet. The demons who are psychopaths, they're going to prison. They're going to be civilly prosecuted with regard to substantial damages, unprecedented damages, because domestic terrorism by the government against American citizens, engaging in criminal surveillance, engaging in what is gang stalking, things that have yet to be proven as fact, and enforcing your rights as an American citizen. This is unprecedented. The entity is going to be disbanded as a police department in Ontario, California, removed from office, and the entity is going to federal prison, the people of the state, engaging in the crimes as documented with regard to the laws as they violate and requiring federal prison. The entity is going to be walking away with an unprecedented criminal record with regard to gang stalking, domestic terrorists, sex offenders, and they're engaged in what is documented federal offenses because they are hostile to the evidence that is very damning. They're already guilty by virtue of my website, by virtue of my YouTube channel, and they provide more evidence to their own demise. That's always relevant to the mental health, which is what I've been telling you from the beginning. It's what you're paying attention to. It's what I've provided evidence of as well. 9EZK933. Only psychopaths are that unhinged. First of all, your pattern of conduct already shows that you're mentally ill. And then you're talking about in the face of evidence, which they're keeping me and my evidence under surveillance, and you can go ahead and watch your own prosecution. What sane person provides more evidence to their own demise? And not just your demise. When you go to federal prison, your spouse, your gay lover, your dog, your kids, everybody connected to you, they're going to be affected as well. And if I documented them, I'm prosecuting them as well. 9C22Z78, your children are going to be inevitably affected by it. What sane person engages in this level of provision of evidence against its own demise? Somebody that is mentally ill, psychopathic. Not someone that's mentally ill that doesn't understand. This entity is mentally ill. This demon possession is what is creating human beings who are psychopathic in nature, sociopathic, antisocial, all right? Engaged in what is this unhinged, maniacal level of conduct, which they are aware of is also being documented, and yet they persist. They're not secretly gang stalking anybody. It went right on the internet as well. It's 9:05 p.m. You're looking at it on the internet already. 8ZSP546. This is P.O.C. And that's the Ontario Police Department gang stalking while the entity is stalking in commercial planes. 9RDD076. This is the Ontario Downtown Apartments. This is the Ontario Town Square. The 280 North Limit Apartments. The Ontario Mayor, Paul Leon, engaging in the foolish conduct of having an airport flying over the Ontario Town Square and the Senior Citizen Complex and the Ontario City Hall, adjacent to the library. There's no terminals over here, and you being a gang stalking mayor and that ongoing conduct is directly speaking to your engagement in that criminal pattern of conduct, and to engage in it, repeat it while I'm documenting on video, and I put it right on the internet, and I remind everyone what's relevant while the entity provides that level of evidence. You're still being removed from office. Molesting is the same demons of the Ontario Police Department. An older, elderly Latino male gang stalking, molesting my body with light while he's stalking. 1515458, City of Ontario, stalking, going into the parking garage with a City of Ontario vehicle in order to engage in the crossing of path. And I have my upright shadow, while the people of the state gang stalk with the city. 9 LAZ 188. The same impossible light activity you're seeing when they're stalking with planes is the same light activity that you're looking at, which is impossible. Not the product of standing underneath light fixtures, not the product of standing underneath street lamps. This is the gang stalking conduct of the entity. P.O.C. All right, capturing images of the gang stalkers who are the city of Ontario. They're monitoring my vagina in the city of Ontario using the resources of the municipality. Paul Leon is being removed from office as a terrorist leader engaging in sexual violence. He's been gang stalking all day long at the facilitating venue of the Ontario City Hall, which is feet away from the OVITT Family Community Library, where the entity is gang stalking by commercial planes, documented by gang stalking by the Ontario Police Department. He's directly remaining in relevant position gang stalking with the city of Ontario, which he represents as being a terrorist leader over it, and for 20 years he's been gang stalking. He's been in office, he's been engaged in public corruption the entire time. Not only that, he's doing so while the entity is aware that they're being documented, and so I have planes flying over me and the demons of the municipality molesting my body with engineer light because I'm exposing this corrupt mayor. This is what I'm stating. The entity engages in very personal criminal conduct when you're engaging in monitoring and you document public officials. While you're subject to ongoing violence and threatening conduct, that public official will find themselves in federal court pursuant to a federal prosecution. You threaten, you're not going to threaten an American citizen, you're monitoring. So now with that evidence, and I document you, that's an unlawful threat. License 08 AC1, that's a white Cadillac, a handicap license plate. But this is not new. I've been documenting Paul Leon. He's been threatening my life and my safety and my well-being. He's been monitoring my vagina since I've been in, I captured the fake son over the Ontario City Hall. It's already sitting on the record. I document him by name at Woodside Senior Apartments, where the Ontario Police Department routinely flying in circles over the apartment, flying over my head repeatedly, while the entity keeps the fake son in all of Ontario over Woodside Senior Apartments, where Tracy Banks lives, where the same city of Ontario committed kidnapping. Paul Leon is already on the record as threatening my life, my safety, and my well-being, and doing so with a retaliatory purpose, which is speaking to an enhancement to federal charges. Any gang stalking mayor threatening the life of an American citizen who is reporting that public official to the feds, you will be subject to a federal prosecution, as the population that is gang stalking is acting in concert with you, engaging in the delusional effort of engaging in some sort of retaliation. It's not when you're being documented and you're going to federal prison for it. That's not retaliation, that's foolishness. That's foolish, as far as evidence is concerned, used in a federal court, where documentation evidence is very specific in identifying the offender. That's not retaliation, that's foolish. These are the mentally ill who are going to be prosecuted for their engagement in that P.O.C. and engaging in what is a provision of evidence against the mayor, the police, the fire department, the Ontario International Airport, and the people of the state themselves, the entire state of California, while I walk out in engineer light, and as I walk out, pursuant to that demonic synchronicity, the entity is clearly deviating from any terminal where planes are going to be flying even in the sky space at that elevation over a senior citizen complex, and where light is never creating your shadow on both sides of your person. Not under the sun, nor when you're standing under street lamps or building lights. All right, that's the engineered environment, and they're gang stalking with planes while I'm documenting the mayor, Paul Leon. He's being removed from office, and he is subject to what is a prosecution personally under his name. Not just merely being removed, but being federally prosecuted. Because that's what's going to happen when you're threatening the lives of American citizens who will blow the whistle on you, and you shall not interfere with the intent to obstruct justice, or you'll be in federal prison, not merely removed from office. It is clear, it's currently 9:11 p.m. This is P.O.C. (3062796) HCZF 836. This is ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue. 8WCX096. Or substantially similar. You can scratch that one. I can't really see that one that clearly. They're gang stalking at what is ARCO. ARCO is a corrupt business where the entity is gang stalking all day long while I remain, for example, in relevant position, and they're across the street, gang stalking as an establishment and gang stalking as the patrons engaged in the pattern of conduct that is the people of the state that are stalking with light, stalking under the fake sun, pacing all around like psychopaths, want to appear normal while they pump gas at ARCO in relevant position. And then that fake sun remains over me as I go to the library, and that same population engaged in that P.O.C. It is currently 9:12 p.m. Stalking in the path at Starbucks, 507 North Euclid Avenue, in relevant position. These are demons that are engaged in criminal monitoring, and as they act, engaging in the pattern of conduct, it's incriminating everybody else. This is a demon that's stalking in the dark, and the entity that engages in stalking with light, this is what you need to understand that Corporal Tedosky is engaging in, as a demon that's operating a police vehicle, stalking in the path with light, and then pulls over the demons who are the people of the state, where there is no disguise, no mask whatsoever. That demon in Corporal Tedosky is bare bones, clearly seen by everyone as it's exposed, engaging in the pattern of conduct, and that person, Tedosky, is subject to federal prison for gang stalking while wearing a uniform to be misconstrued with somebody that's actually a law enforcement officer and not a gang stalking psychopath. Okay, it's currently 9:13 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, the people of the state pacing, as you can hear in traffic, while a demon is loitering in the path, creating light activity. I'm going to get this demon's license plate. They're acting with the City of Ontario. License 9 ROP 546, and license stalking in the path with light is 7 YCW 180. And they're molesting with light while they're a great distance away from the intersection where I'm crossing the street at E as in Edward and Euclid, where the entity keeps the fake sun for 12 hours. All right, that's engineer light. And they are molesting again as I cross the street again. That third party is engaging in the pattern of conduct. This is what the Ontario police are monitoring with. The demon-possessed people of the state. And they're doing so with Chevron. That's gang stalking. They're in relevant position, gang stalking, driving off the property of Chevron in order to what is stalking the path with light. And your headlights aren't reaching across the street, creating dynamic shadows on the walls of the Starbucks on the opposite side where I'm standing. And it's also not molesting my person. Your headlights are not touching on the opposite side of the street. Those are demons who are stalking in the path with light. Remember, this engineer light is what is existing in plain view. And during the day, it's very obvious because they're gang stalking while engineer light is flying inside of the buildings, for example, like at this Starbucks, when they're driving on the street. And this is the unintelligent system where they are losing their mask of being disconnected and having nothing to do with the target individuals suffering from hallucinations, stating that strangers are stalking them. That's directly rebutted by their engagement in stalking with light. Not only that, their mental illness is put at the forefront. These are psychopaths that are intentionally stalking under the false idea that they would be misconstrued as strangers. They're not. They're shown to be engaged in psychological torture. They're shown to be engaged in stalking as a group, as a community, as a corrupt city, in concert with every level of government, as it is exposing everything else as they engage in the elements of monitoring. While they're doing that, as I document that third party is committing a sex offense. Again, that's impunity. All right, this is P.O.C. It's currently 9:15 p.m. and this is what the OVITT Family Community Library is engaging in while the entity uses commercial planes to engage in terrorism and harassment while you document the mayor. Yeah, that's the foolish pattern of conduct by the City of Ontario. It's currently 9:16 p.m. P.O.C.